welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. The night was quiet, save for the occasional rustle of leaves stirred by the gentle spring breeze. My neighborhood, usually a serene enclave, had been troubled by a petty thief whose antics targeted the one thing I took pride in, my meticulously maintained flower beds. Each morning for a week, I'd wake to find flowers uprooted and petals scattered like confetti after a parade. It was maddening. Determined to catch the culprit, I installed a CCTV camera on the roof, angling it to overlook the vibrant display of tulips and roses that lined my front yard. That evening, I retreated to my study, the glow from my computer monitor casting long shadows across the room. As the clock struck midnight, I started reviewing the footage, not expecting much. But there, illuminated by the infrared night vision, was the thief. It wasn't some mischievous kid from the block, nor was it a random vandal. It was Greg, our neighbor. I squinted in disbelief as I watched him meticulously select the best blooms, tearing them from their roots with a practiced hand, then casually strolling towards my front door. I paused the video, my mind racing. Greg had been a good neighbor, or so I thought. Always friendly, always waving whenever we saw each other. What game was he playing? The doorbell rang. It was late, and under normal circumstances, I wouldn't have answered, but my curiosity got the better of me. I watched live as my wife, Elena, opened the door. Greg stood there, a charming smile plastered across his face, holding out a bouquet of my own flowers. The audacity of it. Special delivery, I heard him chuckle through the audio feed, his voice dripping with an unsettling charm. Elena laughed, a sound that now seemed foreign to me. "They're beautiful, Greg." "Thank you." They didn't see the camera, they didn't know I was watching. As I observed their easy banter and the way they looked at each other, a cold realization washed over me. This wasn't just about flowers. It was something far more personal, far more intimate. Over the next few days, I paid close attention. The signs were all there, whispers when they thought I wasn't listening, brief touches, stolen glances. My heart sank. Betrayal by a neighbor was one thing, but by my wife. The sting was unbearable. Fueled by a swirling mix of anger and heartbreak, I decided not to confront them immediately. Revenge, a dark whisper in the recesses of my mind suggested, is a dish best served cold. I needed a plan, something that would expose their deceit and punish their betrayal in equal measure. So, I watched, and I waited. I gathered more evidence, documenting every stolen moment, every illicit meeting. With each passing day, my resolve hardened. I would ruin their lives as they had mine, but not through brute force or blind rage. My revenge would be meticulous, calculated, and utterly devastating. The following week crawls by like molasses. Each day, I wake up to the sight of the flower bed, a graveyard of torn petals and twisted stems, serving as a painful reminder of my wife's betrayal. But each morning also brings with it the anticipation of a new opportunity. I'm determined to execute my plan with precision. It's Saturday, and the neighborhood is buzzing with weekend energy. Families are out mowing lawns and grilling in backyards. I know Greg will be out and about, showing off his charm like it's a badge of honor. He seems to have taken my flowers as a trophy of some sort, and that infuriates me. I'm in the kitchen, brewing coffee, when I spot Elena through the window. She's chatting with Greg at the fence that divides our yards, her laughter ringing out like a siren's call. I try to suppress the rush of emotions rising in my throat. I can't afford to lose my cool now, I need to keep a level head. "Hey, honey," I say, trying to keep my tone light as I join her at the window. "What's going on over there?" Elena turns, her eyes glimmering. "Oh, just talking about the garden. Greg's been giving me some tips. He's really knowledgeable about plants." "Is that so?" I reply, feigning interest while clenching my fists at my sides. Seems like he's been giving you a little too much attention lately. Elena raises an eyebrow, but there's a flicker of something in her eyes. Guilt? Don't be silly. He's just being friendly. Right. I smile tightly, trying to mask the simmering rage beneath. Just make sure to keep your flowers intact. As she turns back to Greg, I step away, barely able to contain my frustration. I need to push the plan forward. Today is the day I'll lay the groundwork for my retribution. Later that afternoon, I stroll outside, feigning casualness as I approach Greg. He's kneeling by the fence, fiddling with some weeds. Hey, Greg. I call out, forcing a friendly smile. Got a second? He straightens up, a bit surprised but masking it well. Sure, what's up? Just wanted to chat about the flower situation. I've been thinking it might be time to expand my collection. I gesture towards my ruined garden, my voice dripping with false cheer. Maybe you can help me pick out some new flowers. Of course. Greg beams, clearly pleased. I know a great nursery nearby. You'll love their selection. Perfect. How about we go together tomorrow? I could use a second opinion on colors and types. Sounds great. I'm looking forward to it, he replies, oblivious to my underlying motives. As he walks away, I can barely contain my excitement. This will be the perfect setup to expose him and Elena. I spend the evening drafting a detailed plan. My heart races as I think of how I'll turn the tables. The next day, I wake up early, the adrenaline coursing through my veins. I set up a second hidden camera in my car, angling it to capture both Greg and Elena's reactions. The sun shines brightly as I pull into the nursery parking lot, adrenaline buzzing beneath my skin. When Greg arrives, I greet him with a warm smile, playing my role flawlessly. We wander the aisles, discussing plants, and I nod along, pretending to be genuinely interested in his expertise. After a while, I casually steer the conversation to something more personal. So, how's your wife doing? I haven't seen her around much lately. She's busy with work, he stammers, a hint of discomfort flashing across his face. I chuckle, well, you know how it is. Sometimes you just need a little downtime. Maybe you should treat her to some flowers. It could help smooth things over. Yeah, maybe, he replies, scratching his head, clearly caught off guard by my suggestion. As we continue through the nursery, I catch a glimpse of my plan unfolding perfectly. I casually mention the flowers I've recently lost. Elena used to love helping me in the garden. It's such a shame we lost those blooms. But, hey, I'm thinking of planting some new ones. Yeah, good idea, Greg says, a little too eagerly. After selecting a few plants, we head to the checkout. I secretly text Elena, letting her know that we're getting some flowers and that Greg is helping me pick them out. I want to see her reaction. Moments later, my phone buzzes. That's great. Tell him I say hi. Can't wait to see what you pick. I smile, a wicked satisfaction settling in my stomach. She thinks it's all innocent, that I'm oblivious. But the seeds of revenge have been sown, and I'm ready for the next step. As we load the flowers into my car, Greg pats me on the back. You know, it's good to have a friend like you. I've been feeling a bit lonely lately. Lonely? I reply, feigning concern. I'm sure Elena would be happy to help you out more. Just let her know you need it. Yeah, I will, he says, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his features. I watch as he leaves, a grin spreading across my face. The pieces are falling into place, and soon, I'll expose the truth. Little does he know, the gardener is about to become the hunted. The following days are a blur of tension and anticipation. I find myself constantly checking my phone for Elena's messages, waiting for the right moment to put my plan into action. The camera in my car records everything, capturing Greg's interactions with me and my wife. Each time I review the footage, I can feel the anger bubbling just beneath the surface, waiting to erupt. It's Thursday evening when I finally get a break. I'm lounging on the couch, scrolling through my phone when I notice a text from Greg. "Hey. Do you have time to chat? I could really use your advice." My heart races. This is the opening I need. "Sure. Come over in about an hour," I reply, trying to keep my excitement at bay. I head to the kitchen, pouring myself a drink, and start setting up the living room. I arrange the cameras, making sure they're discreetly hidden but positioned to capture every moment. I also pull up the footage from the nursery visit, wanting to remind myself of Greg's reactions to my comments about Elena. It's a delicate web I'm weaving, and I can't afford to lose focus. When Greg arrives, he seems a bit nervous, his usual confidence wavering. "Hey, thanks for having me over," he says, stepping inside. "Of course. What's on your mind?" I ask, ushering him to the couch. He sits, running a hand through his hair. "Well, I've been feeling really stressed lately. Work has been hectic, and I don't know. I feel like I'm in a rut." I nod, feigning sympathy. "I get it. Sometimes life throws curveballs. Have you talked to Elena about it? She's good at listening." Greg hesitates, then shakes his head. "Not really. I wouldn't want to burden her with my problems." A flicker of guilt passes through me, but I quickly suppress it. This is a game, and I'm in it to win. "You shouldn't feel that way. She cares about you. Just like I do," I say, leaning in slightly. "But if you ever need a break, I could help you out with some advice." He looks at me, eyes wide. "What do you mean?" "Just a little distraction could do wonders, right? Maybe we could go out for drinks one night. Just the two of us," I suggest, watching him closely for his reaction. He chuckles nervously. "Yeah, that might be good. I appreciate you being here for me, man." "Anytime," I reply, my voice steady. "So, tell me more about what's been going on with you and Elena." Greg shifts uncomfortably in his seat, avoiding my gaze. "It's just, sometimes I feel like we're not connecting like we used to. It's like she's always busy with something." "Is that so?" I press, eager to dig deeper. "You think it's something serious?" He fidgets with his hands, finally muttering, "I don't know. It's just a feeling." I lean back, letting his uncertainty simmer. Sometimes people just need a little nudge to realize what they have. "Have you thought about planning something special for her? A surprise maybe?" His eyes light up, and I can see the gears turning in his mind. "That could work. Maybe a weekend getaway or something." "Exactly. Make it memorable," I encourage, sensing that I'm planting the seeds of doubt in his mind. Just then, the door swings open, and Elena walks in, her smile brightening the room. "Hey, guys. What's going on?" "Just having a little chat," I say, quickly shifting my tone to something more casual. "Greg was just telling me about some ideas he had for you." "Oh?" she says, glancing at Greg with curiosity. "Yeah, I was thinking about planning a little getaway for us," he replies, his voice suddenly enthusiastic. "Maybe we could go hiking or something this weekend." Elena's expression shifts, surprise mixed with uncertainty. "That sounds great. But we have a lot going on." I can't help but interject, "Come on, Elena. A little adventure could be good for both of you. You've been working hard. Just think of it as a mini vacation." She glances at Greg, and I can see the wheels turning in her mind. "Maybe you're right," she finally says, her voice tentative. "I could use a break." Greg nods eagerly, but I can see the doubt creeping back into his eyes. Let's make it happen then. I'll look up some places, he says, trying to maintain enthusiasm. Elena smiles at him, but it doesn't reach her eyes. Sure, that sounds good, she replies, the words feeling hollow. As she leaves the room, I exchange a knowing glance with Greg. You've got this, man. Just make sure to pull out all the stops, I say, grinning at him. He chuckles, but I can see the uncertainty in his expression. Thanks, I will. After Greg leaves, I sink into the couch, replaying the day's events in my mind. Everything is falling into place, and the tension between Greg and Elena is palpable. The more I push, the more I can sense their connection starting to fray. But I can't let my guard down. I still have one more step in my plan. I need to create a situation where Elena feels safe to confide in me about her feelings for Greg. I need her to let her guard down completely, to believe that I'm on her side. The next day, I decide to visit Greg's house under the guise of needing help with my own garden. I'm eager to see how he's reacting to the weekend getaway plan. As I knock on the door, I can hear movement inside. When Greg opens the door, he looks surprised but pleased to see me. Hey! What brings you here? He asks, stepping aside to let me in. Just wanted to pick your brain about some gardening tips, I say, stepping into his living room. I know you've got a knack for it. Sure thing. I could always use a break from work, he replies, leading me to the back where his garden is thriving. As we walk outside, I can see that the garden is flourishing, vibrant with color. But as we stand there, I can't shake the feeling that something's off. Hey, man, how are you feeling about the weekend? I ask, trying to gauge his mood. He shrugs, crossing his arms. I'm excited but also a bit nervous. I hope she likes it. Of course she will. You're doing something thoughtful. That'll mean a lot to her, I reassure him, watching as he visibly relaxes. Yeah, I guess. It's just, sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough, he admits, a hint of vulnerability seeping through. You're doing great, I say, trying to keep my voice calm and supportive. Just remember, communication is key. Make sure she knows you care. He nods, a little too eagerly, and I can see the gears turning in his mind. Thanks for the advice. It really helps to talk about it. I leave his house feeling a mix of satisfaction and anticipation. The final pieces are starting to come together. I can already see the cracks forming in their relationship, and soon, I'll be able to expose the truth in a way that's undeniable. As I walk back home, I can't help but smile at the thought of Elena's reaction when the truth comes crashing down. The bloom of deception is thriving, and soon, it will wilt under the weight of its own lies. The days leading up to the weekend getaway feel like an eternity. I can sense the tension in the air, thickening with each passing moment. I've set my plan into motion, and all that's left is to wait for the perfect moment to strike. It's Saturday morning, and I decide to pay Greg and Elena an unexpected visit. I tell myself it's to check in on them, but deep down, I know it's time to reveal the truth. As I pull into their driveway, adrenaline courses through my veins, and a dark satisfaction settles in my gut. Elena answers the door, a bright smile on her face that feels like a punch to the gut. Hey! We were just about to head out, she says, glancing back at Greg, who's gathering some bags. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, I say, forcing a grin. I just wanted to see how the weekend plans were shaping up. Everything's great. We've got a packed schedule, she replies, a hint of nervousness creeping into her voice. Greg's been planning some surprises. I can see Greg's eyes dart between us, caught off guard by my sudden appearance. Yeah, man. You should join us. The more, the merrier, right? Thanks, but I think I'll pass, I say, my voice dripping with insincerity. I've got something else in mind. Greg raises an eyebrow, clearly puzzled. What do you mean? I was just thinking about our little garden chat the other day. It made me realize how important it is to keep things fresh in a relationship. I step inside, crossing my arms and leaning against the doorframe. Speaking of freshness, did you know I have some pretty interesting footage from the other day? Elena's face pales slightly. What are you talking about? Oh, you know. The nursery visit. All those delightful conversations we had about flowers and relationships. I take a step closer, the tension in the room palpable. Especially the part where Greg was so eager to talk about planning a surprise getaway for his wife. What's your point? Greg says, his voice a mix of confusion and irritation. I pull out my phone, displaying the video I've carefully edited. Here's the thing. I've been watching you both, and let's just say I've documented quite a few of your floral exchanges. I hit play. As the video rolls, their faces twist in shock and disbelief. Elena's eyes widen, and Greg's jaw drops. You were spying on us. Greg stammers, anger flooding his tone. It's not spying if it's right outside my window, I retort, my voice cold and steady. But I suppose you wouldn't understand that, would you, Greg? You're too busy tearing up my flowers and my marriage. Stop it. Elena cries, stepping forward. This isn't fair. Fair? I laugh bitterly. You think cheating on your husband is fair? You think hiding behind Greg's supposed friendship is fair? You've betrayed me, both of you. Elena's face contorts in frustration. It's not what you think. We didn't mean for it to happen. Didn't mean for it to happen. I echo, my voice rising. You tore out the roots of our life together, Elena. You both acted like it was a game. Greg shifts uncomfortably, his earlier bravado fading. Look, I didn't mean for things to go this far. I thought it was just harmless flirting. Harmless? I sneer, stepping closer. Do you have any idea how much pain you've caused? You both are pathetic. Elena's expression hardens. This is all your fault too. You're the one who let things get so stale between us. Maybe if you had been more attentive, this wouldn't have happened. Don't you dare put this on me. I shout, the fury boiling over. You both made a choice. As the confrontation escalates, I feel the rage bubbling inside me, ready to explode. You know what? I don't need to waste my breath on either of you. You've already destroyed everything I valued. Turning sharply, I march towards the door. I'll make sure everyone knows the truth about you two, I call back, my voice low and deadly. Your little relationship will be exposed, and I won't stop until everyone knows what you did. Don't you dare threaten us. Greg shouts, his face flushed with anger. I whirl around, meeting his gaze with icy determination. I'm not threatening you, I'm promising you. As I step outside, the realization of what I'm about to do solidifies in my mind. I reach for my phone and begin recording a video, my voice steady and calm. This is to document the betrayal of Greg and Elena. You both may think you've gotten away with it, but you're wrong. This is just the beginning. With a chilling sense of purpose, I share the video across social media, ensuring it reaches everyone in our neighborhood. The anticipation builds within me as I know this will be the nail in the coffin for their relationship. They'll be exposed, and the world will see them for who they truly are. The moment I hit post, a flood of emotions washes over me, relief, vindication, and something darker. I watch as notifications pour in, friends and neighbors reacting with shock and disbelief. My heart races, knowing the devastation this will cause. As I turn to leave, I glance back at the house one last time. Elena stands at the window, her face pale and stricken. Greg, beside her, appears lost, their connection crumbling under the weight of their actions. In that moment, I realize this is the end for all of us. Goodbye, Elena. Goodbye, Greg, I mutter, and I walk away, leaving behind the shattered remnants of a life that once was. I feel no remorse for my actions. I've reclaimed my power, and in the ashes of betrayal, I've found my freedom. The deception has been revealed, and now it's time for them to face the consequences of their choices. I'll never see them again, but their names will forever be synonymous with betrayal, and I will always be the one who rose from the ruins of their deceit.